Hey everybody, this is Mommy 2, Wife of 1. I'm posting the video a day late this week. Don't hold it against me, but on Tuesday nights after I get the kids to bed, spend time with my husband and have some alone time for myself. Sometimes I don't have the energy to post the video, so I do apologize for it being a day late. Today, I actually want to talk about a topic that was given to me by one of my viewers. So, shout out to that viewer. You know who you are. Thank you so much for watching my videos and for taking the time to give me a topic idea. But she posed a question about the relationship between religion and motherhood, and the idea of when you should introduce religion to your children, or if you should introduce religion to your children, and how a mother or father may be perceived if they choose not to introduce religion to their child. First, let me say that I am a Christian. I believe in the Bible. I go to church. I pray. I'm not condemning anybody who doesn't do those things. To each his own. The main thing that I thought about when she explained the topic to me is that we tend to pass down to our children what we grew up with. And I think when it comes to a lot of different traditions, whether it's religion or family traditions in terms of cooking or rules in the household, or whether you got popped or got a timeout or whatever it is, I think that when it comes to the way we were raised, we'll either try to give our children the exact same childhood and implement the same rules and regulations that our parents provided for us because we thought we had an amazing childhood, or we'll go the complete opposite route because we had a horrible childhood, and we'll do everything different that our parents did to ensure that our children have a better childhood than we did. So I think when it comes to religion, it's the same thing. If you were brought up in the church, then it's a good chance that once you become a parent, if you become a parent, that you'll bring the children up in the church as well. From my personal experience, I was introduced to the church at a pretty early age, and obviously, when you're young, it's not like you can talk back to your parents and say, no, I don't feel like going. You pretty much have to go. You're dragged to church, and you have the option of listening and absorbing information or not. And obviously, when you're a child, your parents are taking you to their church where they're getting fed spiritually. That doesn't mean that as a child you're getting fed spiritually. So while I didn't have a choice but to go, well, I guess because I didn't have a choice but to go, I didn't really get into church until I graduated from college. Because then I made the conscious effort to go to church. I got in my own car, didn't wait for anybody else to wake me up or whatever, and I drove myself to church because I was at a place in my life where I wanted to learn more about God and learn more about how I could best serve Him and how I could serve others, and about my spiritual gifts and how to pray and how to have faith and all that stuff. I did that myself. So when I had my child, I did bring him with me because it was important to me that he saw mommy praying. He saw mommy going to church. He saw mommy praising God. Now, obviously, when he was young, like not even a year old, he didn't notice what was going on, but it was important for me that he was exposed to that stuff early. But I think that the focus for me is less on him being in the church, though that is my goal for my entire family to be going to church on a regular basis. That hasn't happened yet, but at some point I would like for that to be the case. But my goal is less of him going to church, both of my kids going to church, and more on them having an actual relationship with God. So in terms of implementing religion to my children, or implementing, the idea of God, we do small things, pray over their food. They both say grace over every meal, every snack. We pray. I pray with my son before he goes to school. I say prayers with them both before they go to bed. And my daughter's only 18 months, but she knows that as soon as she's in her chair and she sees her food, she puts her hands together because she knows, okay, now I have to do this thing called a prayer. So she understands, and it's routine for her, which is great. And when my son was younger, he had night terrors a lot. I don't know if you all are familiar with that, but for some reason, I guess before a child is older, they don't call it nightmares, they call it night terrors. When he was really young, he had them pretty frequently. And I used to go in his room and I would rub his back while he cried, and I'd rub his back till he calmed down. And when he got older, I taught him that whenever you're in your dream, or even if you're in real life, if something scares you, if something frightens you, if there's something that you're unsure about, You need to just say, I need you, Jesus. Because no matter where you are in your life, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's always the best time to call on Jesus and let him know that you need him. And Jesus is going to make sure that you're okay. Jesus is going to protect you from, bad things or whatever. Jesus is here for you. And, it's a simple concept, but for me, it was important that he understood the relationship between me being fearful and me being scared, and understanding that other than mommy and daddy, there is something or someone else I can call on, someone else who has my back, someone else who is protecting me. So that's how I kind of introduced religion to him, and I'll probably do the same thing with my daughter. I think that in terms of how a mother or father is perceived, if they choose not to take their child to church, again, it's nobody else's business. It's all about you, your relationship with God, whether you believe in God or not. Like, you make that decision for your family. You as a parent, again, whether you're mother or father, you decide what is best for you and your family. If you decide that what's best for you and your family is that you guys learn about your history, you learn about your culture, you learn about, you know, things of the world, that's more important to you, then that's what you focus on. If your focus is on making sure your child reads the Bible every single day, that they're involved in the children's choir, they're involved in children's church, they want to be in the Christmas pageant or whatever, if that's your focus, then that's fine. And I think that too often we tend to judge other parents and we tend to judge other people based off of what they do. Now, I think the judging part, not saying that anybody should judge anybody, and I really try not to judge parents because I don't want to be judged for how I'm parenting my children. But basically, the whole point is do whatever you feel comfortable with, do whatever feels right for you, do whatever you think is best for your children. If you choose not to take your children to church, don't allow anybody to make you feel bad about that. You just may not be in the right frame of mind. If you don't have that desire to learn more about God or whatever, then don't go. I think it's better to not go to church at all than to go to church, get all dressed up with your kids, get your husband all snazzy, whatever, buy some fresh new Bibles, and sit in church and, sing all these songs or whatever, and only doing it because you're posturing and you want people to see you in church. God isn't looking at your attendance like, oh, they went to church, that's the man, I'm going to let them get into heaven. God is looking at your relationship. So if you're just going to church just because you think it's the right thing to do, but you're not reading the Bible at home, your children don't know anything about faith, and you and your husband are not praying with your children or praying with each other or whatever, then that's what God is looking at. He's not looking at the fact that you're in church. Other people are judging the fact that you're in church, but those other people aren't going to get you into heaven or hell if you believe in either of those places. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Don't do anything because you feel pressured to do it. If you want to introduce your children to the idea of religion or introduce them to God, you can start off small, but just teaching them how to pray. Find a church home for you and your family that has a good children's ministry, that has a good couples ministry, a good women's ministry. That's what I'm in search of now. I'm looking for a church home that has all of those things, because I don't want to pick a church where I think I'm going to learn and grow, whatever, and I'm the only person learning and growing. That's not the purpose of me going to church. The purpose of me going to church is to find a place where my entire family can grow, where we can grow in our relationship with God and in turn grow closer together. So that's my spiel for the week. I hope I answered your question, my awesome viewer who posed this topic. I have another fresh new topic next week. I love you guys so much. If you have any other questions or concerns or comments or topic ideas, please leave them below this video, okay? Below the video. And don't forget to like my YouTube channel, Mom of Two Wife of One. This is Mom of Two Wife of One, and I'll see you guys next week.